Hey everyone, welcome back to Beekeeping with Natalie, or welcome to if you are new. Today is the 11th, and this is, right? And this is part 12, I think, of this series. We were just talking, we were like, is this gonna be just this year, or is this gonna be probably next year too? We'll probably do some videos on this next year coming out of winter, seeing how well they did. If they didn't do good, what we're gonna do, and then if they did do good, if we'll be able to split and all of that. So we probably will continue this for a little bit, but today is finally splitting day. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks. Like, we'll do it next week, and that's just kept happening. But we're finally getting to it today, and the only reason we really are doing it today is because we have grafts that need to be put in somewhere. My mic is on, right? Okay,
yes.
Just making sure. We didn't check before. But we have grafts that are capped and in the incubator, and we'll hopefully put those in tomorrow. I don't know if I'll film that or not, but it just means that we have to split today. So here's kind of the setup. We have all of our hives that we have just already here that need to be split. And then these are double nuke boxes. So if you haven't seen these before, it's really just a 10 frame box with a divider down the middle, and then it makes it to be a 4 frame box. Now, these ones I never recommend to buy a lot of times because they have this extra space. It's this wide of this feeder here. It's this wide. And you can't fit a frame in there, but it's big enough that they will always make wax right there. They'll just build like a whole extra frame. So it's super frustrating because you can't put a frame there, but they're still gonna build it out. But we found a solution to it, and we actually got these feeders this year from a retired beekeeper. So I'm pretty sure you have to make them. I don't think you can buy them anywhere, but they're wooden, but I can't remember what the seal is that they use. But we were talking to Bob about it actually a while ago, and he knew exactly what they were and all of that. So anyways, they used to use them a lot, but then everybody switched to the plastic ones. So anyways, it's a little bit smaller. I don't remember how much it is, but it's definitely not a gallon. It's a lot smaller, so you do have to be more consistent with feeding. Actually, I'll go ahead and open these up because we're just going to put hives in here anyway. I'll just leave one of them open because I don't know if we're going to make too many splits on video, but anyways, let's see, where do I want to start? We're definitely going to split probably all of them. We might not be able to get a whole lot out of a few, but also, hopefully, this will probably be a long video, just a little bit longer than usual. But if you haven't noticed, the camera keeps just stopping randomly, and apparently it's overheating. I don't know, but we're trying to figure it out. So anyway, that's why all the abrupt endings have been happening, because we're like, no, we won't film another outro. We'll just end it there. But anyways, I do have one little story on this one here. I do want to just check it. So this is this hive that we checked a while ago, and she just wasn't doing very good. They weren't building up, and we fed them, and then they all drowned in it, so we knew something was off. She was laying, but none of it was turning into brood, and it was just a whole thing. So a while ago, I think it would have been a couple of days ago, me and my dad were just walking up here, and then on one of those hives over there was just a ball of bees, and it was one of those really tight clusters. So I immediately was like, I wonder what's in here. And it was a queen. I don't know how it happened, where she came from. It was none of these, because these are all laying. They all have queens. So she came from somewhere in this home yard here. I don't know where, but I know she was marked green, which means she's definitely ours. And I know we had like one, maybe two queens that were marked green, because that's a couple years ago now, right? When was that?
Yeah.
That's a little while ago. She's a little bit older, and we don't have very many of those. We usually are queens, so.
Or was that last year?
What?
What color was last year?
I thought last year was green. It might have been. Yeah. I don't know.
I can't keep up.
So anyways, all we're doing
I know this year is blue, and that's what matters.
Yeah, pretty much. The whole point of the coloring system is so you know what year she is, and we don't even know. But anyways, I just want to check to see if she is actually in here laying, or if they went ahead and balled her also.
So the green queen that it looked like she was being balled, you put her in here?
We put in here, and we smashed the other one. So that's what happened, but I'm assuming she might not be in here because there's no eggs, and there's one, what looks like they might be trying to make an emergency cell. I don't know. There's no eggs, and she was definitely mated, but they have all these emergency cells right here. Yeah, I don't see any eggs.
Let me see an emergency cell.
It's just the start of some right here. And there's stuff in there, so maybe they'll make a queen. We might just let it play out, see what happens, because we're not going to get anything from them anyways, so it's either we just let them do whatever, or we just shake them all out. So I'm kind of curious to see what they do. But she's definitely not in here, I don't think. So let's just leave them, see what happens. If they make a queen, great. If not, then we'll just shake them out. I am just going to check the lid. I don't think she's in here. Because I think she'd be laying, but... Well, anyways. Okay. So, we've kind of decided that all of these are going to go into winter as singles, and that's perfectly fine. I know most of the time we like to overwinter with doubles, but sometimes you just can't do that, especially if you're wanting to grow that year. It is, what did I say, the 11th of August?
Yep.
So, it's definitely later in the year. If I could get this lid off, that'd be great. Maybe. It's definitely later in the year to normally be splitting, so the splitting looks a little different. That probably didn't make them too happy.
They're probably not going to be very happy this morning. It's been raining.
It has been raining all day. It was supposed to be a clear week. We weren't supposed to have anything, and then it has been raining the last couple days. But anyways, so your splits are going to look a little bit different when it's later in the year because we know we're not going to have much of a flow. Now, early spring, whenever we're making splits...
Do you have one stuck on the front of your shirt?
There's one in my veil. Let's just get that out of there first. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Okay, sometimes you can just shake it, it'll get out of there. Oh well. Anyways, they're not super happy because it's been all rainy, and I also cracked that lid really loudly, so they don't like that. But we fed these the other day, and this is completely empty, which is good. Just means they're going to need more feed. Now, we will feed later tonight, and the reason for that is it is robbing season, like really bad, and it always happens whenever we want to make some late splits. It's always that time of year. It's just awful. But so basically all that means is our intentions on being in hives and moving frames around and making splits has got to be really, I don't know what you say, precise, I guess.
And quick.
And quick, just to make sure that we don't have these open for too long. They start getting robbed out because they're not the strongest hives. We do have other hives in, not this yard, but the one across from all these trees. And those are strong colonies. So we don't want any robbing to happen. And if it does start to happen, we'll just close them up and move on. But that's why we'll feed later tonight, because the robbing is so bad. If we feed later and then when it's getting close to dark and then feed them all and we have some type of spilling that happens. So if for some reason the feeders overflow and they go to the bottom and then out the entrance, that's like the worst kind, because then all that feed is at the entrance of the hive. So all of those other bees that are going to start robbing are going to go to the front of the hive, and that's just like the worst spot. So anyways, I'm not going to leave any food frames out for now. I'm just going to leave them in here. Typically I would pull that out and keep it aside for the splits, but I'm going to leave that there for now.
So those are both food frames?
Yeah, these are both food frames, but that's why we'll feed at night, because then they won't be able to rob, and then they'll have it all cleaned up by morning, and then there won't be any robbing, hopefully.
That one's got brood, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm going to try and find the queen, and each split is going to look different. This time of year, it's just going to be kind of whatever I can find. So it is a little bit of a risk to be splitting, just because it is so late in the year, but we will get, okay, so here's the queen. We will get some type of flow. hopefully goldenrod, aster, all of that. So there she is. So you don't have a queen clip, do you?
Yep.
You really?
Always.
Always saving the day. It's always been the queen clip too that she always has. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just clip her and then set her aside. So now I can work and not have to worry about putting the queen into another box. So what the plan originally was to leave 4 to 5 frames in the parent hive and then hopefully like a 3-frame split. Now that's asking for quite a lot. So there's 1 frame of brood and this is 2 frames. If they don't have more than 3 frames of brood in here, I won't split them, but I will take some of the food because they have a lot. So it's kind of just hoping that you have one hive that has a ton of brood, but not a whole lot of food, and then you have one hive that has a lot of food and not a whole lot of brood. So this one has a lot of food. I will steal some of that, but I don't think I'm going to be able to take any brood from them because there's, what's that, like 3.5 frames. And then this one looks like it's probably another 1/2 frame. So I don't think I'll be able to, like you totally could too, especially if it was like early spring, you could definitely split these, but we just don't want to cut them back too much. Okay, what's that? That's like,
That's 4.5.
huh?
4.5, right?
I think that's close to 4.
Okay.
I might be able to just take 1 frame of brood here. And we're going to do a mixture of hatching brood and not. So this doesn't look like it is. So I'll throw this in here. And then I'm going to take a frame of food from them. I might take, let's see. You can put 4 frames in here, so I might do 2 frames. Let's do 3 frames of brood and then 1 frame of food. So I'm going to find 1 frame for these. I might take 2 frames of food here because they have a lot. And they're solid frames.
Is that one on the far end also a food frame?
Yeah. Let's just take 2 for now. And then if I need more later, we can pull some out of there. But I am gonna just take these 2 and then close them up. So I took 3 frames out, which means I'm gonna need to put 3 frames back in. And I'm gonna go ahead, oh, that's a brood frame. Let's do this outside. Yeah. Typically I'd wanna put some drawn comb in there, but we're trying to save all of our drawn comb for some other hives that we have.
And then do you need to put the lid on that?
Yeah, I'll put the lid on these, but so you can see that I did just start 2 different splits, but now I need another, what, 5 frames of brood? 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5 frames of brood. So I'm gonna put these on just to hopefully help a little bit with robbing. I'm not gonna throw that lid on. I'm just gonna leave it like that, and then we're gonna put 3 frames back in here, and it's just gonna be foundation because I don't wanna use our drawn comb right now. We had a lot, and we thought we were gonna have plenty, like extra, and then we didn't, per usual, so. These are always so frustrating.
But with
These
as much
things-
as we've been feeding, they've been drawing out.
They've been drawing out a lot. We put some boxes that had, I think 2 frames of drawn in it, and they drew out pretty much everything else. So we've been feeding just a lot. Like once we feed them, come back the next day and it's gone, we're gonna feed again. So we've just been mostly feeding this time of year, which I don't mind because we finally got a new feeding system that's been really nice. It makes everything a lot faster, so. This was just like a foundation, a little bit drawn out on one side, well on both sides a little bit. And then I'm just gonna put their feeder back in.
Because we'll feed them tonight, right?
Yeah, we'll feed them tonight because we just cut them back a good bit. But the thing is now they only have 3, well, because of this frame, about 4 frames. a foundation, if we feed them just a lot before, like we'll be feeding a whole lot in September and all of that, then they should be able to build up. And she's a laying queen. These girls are going to take longer to get there because they won't have a laying queen for a couple of weeks. But she's a laying queen and they have a good amount of food already that they should be okay. They should be able to build up good enough to go into winter as a single. And also we've overwintered plenty of 5-frame nukes and even a couple of like 4 or 3 frames. And they're usually fine as long as I have plenty of bees in there. If I have to, I can come back and take bees from them too. They don't have a whole lot, so I probably will pull from more likely a double and cut them down to a single. But anyways, let's go ahead and let her out. They always just take their time, but there she goes. Okay. And then we're just gonna smoke them off of that side and then put their lid back on, and they're now split. So that just shows how you can kind of split a single. So we only got 1 frame of brood out of them, but we did get 2 frames of food, so that'll be good, and it still works. Where are we at on time?
16, you're good.
I'm just gonna go ahead and open this up and see what it's looking like. But these doubles will most likely go down into a single too. But if for some reason in a couple of weeks they look really good and we want to add a second box, we can, but what most likely will happen is just equalizing. So we'll come back after most of these have settled in a little bit, come back and check them and see just what they look like. If some of them look a little low on bees or not doing as good, then we'll equalize with a colony that's got a lot of bees and a lot of brood.
And we have all of September and October to equalize still,
Yeah,
which is nice.
so we'll wait probably till most of those get mated, but that's really the only thing. Like, yeah, we can make splits and we can put bees in there, but it's the mating part that is probably the hardest. Now, I thought we were going to have a hard time with making cells this year, but we tried a different way of doing it, and it was the way that Bob does it for our cell builder, and it worked really well. So we now have 20 cells.
Yeah.
And we're only needing like 8, but it's fine.
Just gonna make some extra splits.
Yeah, which will be fine. We wanted to double this year anyways, so this will be good. Okay, so here's...
Now, if the goldenrod takes off, which it's getting really close, that'll help.
Yeah, that'll help too. It'll give them a little bit of a boost. And like I say every year, we never count... This looks really good.
Yeah, it does.
We never rely on our fall flow. So whatever does end up blooming, we'll just go straight back to the bees. Like, we have some years that it's really good, and then others where you don't even know that there was the possibility of
Kind of
flow.
hoping with all this rain we've gotten that...
Yeah, we're wondering if all the rain we've gotten, because it was so much later in the year than we usually get, that maybe that'll help the fall flow a little bit. So I'm looking for the queen, but I'm also counting frames of brood. So this is number 2. Hopefully I'll find her. If I don't find her, it's not really an option.
Oh, there's the cell protector still.
Yeah, there's a cell protector in here, and I don't know why. Because we've checked these since then. Oh well. This is about 3 frames of brood. It's more like a half.
2.5.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually what we're going to do. We're going to do, I can fit 4 in there, so we'll do 2 solid frames of brood, and then a foodie broody, which will be half frame of brood, a little bit of food, and then we'll do just a solid frame of food. So it's not a big difference from what we usually do, but it is a stronger split, and they will just need more bees in general.
Does that count as a full one?
Yeah, this is definitely a full one.
So that's 3.5.
I don't know where she's at. Hopefully this kind of makes sense on just, like, if anything, your parent hive can be a little bit weaker when it comes to bee population just because they already have a good laying queen.
Is that a full frame of brood?
Yeah, there's another full frame, so that's good.
So that's 4.5. And how many are you leaving in the parent hive?
We're gonna leave. Sorry, I'm trying to find her while I'm also 4 to 5 frames. So I could probably take one. Not seeing her, but she might be on this next frame. If there's a frame she's gonna be on, I would think it's this one, but of course, I'm probably wrong.
Why do you say that?
It's a good frame to lay on. Everything else is pretty much solid brood. But this is all laid up for the most part. But a lot of times she'll be on these empty frames, so I thought maybe. But I also did skip over these first two. And my luck, she would be on those. But I do want to really try and find the queen in all of these. If I don't know if I'll end up splitting. I might have someone else come up and also check for her. Oh, this might be one too. She's got this all laid up, so this looks good. They're definitely on all of this, and I don't remember how long ago we put them into singles, but they've definitely built up since then. They look a lot better, especially after feeding. They look a lot better. There was a couple of these that looked a little weak, but now they look good. Let's check this one, and then if I don't find her, I'll just go through it again. The most I'll go through is like 3 times, maybe 4, and then I usually end up just being like, okay, whatever, we'll come back to it. And sometimes all it takes is another eye to look at it, and they can find it in the first go around, but...
Does that have brood on it too?
No.
Okay, that's food.
This is just food. Well, I'm gonna probably go back through and check again, but...
Yeah, we don't want to put her in a split.
Yeah, we really don't. If you end up just not being able to find her, but you want to make her split anyway, you can always split it and then just come back like 3 days later, and whichever hive has eggs in it, you'll know. But I don't really want to do that, so we're just going to go through it again.
I feel like she's golden too.
Yeah, there was a couple on this row I remember being golden. Sometimes they'll be on that bottom bar too, so you just gotta check all of it. They're acting a little funny, but there's plenty of eggs, so I wouldn't think they're queenless. See how they're kind of flying out the front there?
Yeah.
I don't know how long we're going to make this video, but hopefully everything kind of makes sense. So you get the idea. You can split this late in the year. It's just a little more thought goes into it, because when it's early springtime, we've got a flow on, we're making splits. We can do a 2-frame split and they will be perfectly fine. So I don't know, I might have to come back and recheck them.
Hate to bother them again, but... Said I hate to bother them again, but we also don't want to...
Yeah, but also she might be on the bottom board, but I don't want to take all the frames out and leave them just sitting there. So you just never know where she's at. Their brood looks good though, but they all like rush down to the bottom and out the side here. So I don't know.
Is it just a space issue?
What?
Just a space issue?
No. They're not really on these frames, but they might be getting a little hot too. I will go ahead and check these. Oh, this frame has brood on it actually. I might have missed her on those then actually. That's why you should always check all your frames, but yeah, I never do.
But
I don't think I checked these two. This is a good foodie broody.
So it makes you have 2 halves and 3 solids, so...
If I can find her, I can definitely pull from them. But I cannot find her. There is another method you could use where you don't have to find the queen. It just takes, it's like a 2-day process.
What,
so it takes longer.
Double screen board?
No, queen, what's that called?
Oh, the
Queen
queen excluder.
Now we might use double screen boards on some of these. If we have a few that, like later in the year, after we've done feeding and everything and we want to do equalizing and combining, we'll probably do a few double screen boards actually. And that'll just be, oh, she could be on the lid too. That's always a good thing to check. If we have some that are just a little small, but we want them to make it through winter, we'll just do a double screen board. So we'll do a video on that later in the year probably. I don't see her on here. Well, I think I'm probably going to go through it again, but we're not going to film it just because that's a long video of nothing. But they did kind of rush out of here onto the side, so they might have just gotten hot, I don't know. But they did rush out to the front too. She usually won't go out of the hive, but who knows? We had a random queen that was being balled on one of these, so who knows what they're doing. But anyway, so that hopefully explains it. We'll hopefully get 6 more splits out of these, and then we'll have to make some more splits off of some other hives just so we have somewhere for those cells to go. But also, again, we will split all of these doubles probably down to a single. So they look good so far. I've checked this one multiple times since they fell through or fell whatever, and she's still in there and she's still laying, so that's good. But I think that's really it. Hopefully that explains everything and how we can split this late in the year. It's just going to be a whole lot of feeding, but again, we will come back later tonight and feed again, and then we'll probably come back in the next 2 days and refeed these girls just because their feeders are smaller. So we'll feed them again. They might go into winter with 2 boxes, but necessarily that's kind of only a normal single because there's only 4 in those. But anyways, hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to go ahead and
We might film when you put queen cells in just so that we can report how many splits we ended up getting.
yeah, so we might film that, but I'm going to go ahead and go back through this hive and check for her again. And then once I do go through it, I'm going to pull a couple of frames out from here. I probably won't pull much food. I will take this half frame of food and brood though, for sure. But I think that's it, right?
I think so.
So thanks for watching. Follow along more bee adventures and be here next time on Beekeeping with Natalie.